Other latest news, NNPCL must be creative for optimal performances, according to Representative Speaker. Federal government recommits to fiscal reforms in states. Adeleke orders probe of night demolition in Oshun markets. We also have this one. We shall right wrongs, champion genuine reconciliation. And of course, some of the latest news also says Lagos-Ibadan Highway Ogun begins demolition of illegal structures. I will share my side of the story. Oladip speaks on his rumored death. How my pastor snatched impregnated my wife. That's according to choir coordinator. And of course, that appears to be from the Metro side of the paper. And more stories here. Rivers Assembly crisis. Court asks to convict ex-speaker. Orders of contempt. And let's look at more stories here. Still on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Let's see if we could pick up more stories. All right. We also have this one. Akwa Ibom TRC law parties opt for out-of-court settlement. We take some couple more. And assailants abduct 3 farmers on Varsity campus in Castina as NSCDC rescue 3. All right. The last one here is also saying Israel Hamas war envoy calls for dialogue, end of bombardment.
Okay, from the Punch newspaper this morning, NNPCL ends fuel import December 2024 projects 4.5 trillion naira revenue. Also, we have FG states plan 18 million agri jobs, $1.5 billion funds. FG to fish out prison warders aiding terrorists. Also from the Punch, Juicing Oshun chapter on collusion cause over anti-CJ protest. Still taking a look at the Punch newspaper. Tinubu inherited dead economy, says Soludo. FG begins procurement act review. Still from the Punch, military nabs Zamfara bandit commanders arms suppliers. Appeal court dismisses PDP petitions uphold Nasarawa Gombe governorship elections. Ogun plans CNG bus stations in Mowe, Ibafo. EFCC arraigns businessman for 822 million naira fraud. And lastly, from the Punch newspaper, we have 7 Kano protesters arrested. Yoruba community fears attack.
All right, we'll go on our first break this morning, and when we come back, we'll be going straight into the analysis proper. Please do stay with us.
32 FM 94.9.
ṣé kìí ṣe jíde ni mo rí nínú ọkọ̀ aláàárẹ̀ yẹn ni kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀.
bùkátà ni o ìnáwó ti kà á láyà.
ṣé kò gbọ́ nípa Black Friday ti Jumia ni.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o Jumia Black Friday tó wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́ láti ọjọ́ 1 sí 30 oṣù kọkànlá. ó lè ra àwọn nǹkan èlò oúnjẹ, ẹ̀rọ alágbèéká, ẹ̀rọ ọ̀nà ilé àtàwọn aṣọ ìgbàlódé lówó tó rẹlẹ̀ tó bá rajà lórí Jumia nínú oṣù kọkànlá yìí. bákan náà o tún ní àǹfààní sí gbígbé àwọn ọjà kọ̀ọ̀kan wá fún ẹ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ nínú ìpolongo Jumia Black Friday yìí. jẹ́ kí àpò ẹ sinmi.
láti se oúnjẹ tó dáa máa ń múnú mi dùn. ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé nígbàkúùgbà tí n bá ń se oúnjẹ mo máa ń fi hóró náà dára sí i fún ẹ̀fọ́ sí ugu o tàtàṣé o ṣọ̀mbọ̀ àlùbọ́sà kò sí ohun tí mo kì í fi sí tán. ìdí táwọn ọmọ mi ṣe ń gbádùn oúnjẹ mi nìyẹn.
Mami, mi ò yọ mo fẹ́.
ṣe rí ṣètò gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀ wá fi kóró náà dára sí i fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn. lónìí jẹun tó dáa.
Little cough, sir, in my little chest, sir. Anytime I cough, sir, it makes a heavy sound, sir.
I see. You have a cough. I know just what you need. I'll give you Uniplex. It will clear your chest fast. Fast, fast, fast. Clear your chest fast.
Uniplex. Uniplex.
Uniplex cough syrup gives you relief from sore throat, cold and chesty coughs. Manufactured by Daily Needs Industries Limited. Uniplex cough syrup is for children and adults.
Uniplex. Uniplex.
If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
Hi there, my name is Mercy Johnson Okoji.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aproko Doctor.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruz with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil oil is Power Oil.
It's Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
ẹ̀yin èwe ṣé ẹ ti ṣetán láti ní ìrírí baba kérésì tí ò lẹ́gbẹ́ lọ́dún yìí? baba kérésì 32 fm dé padà tirẹ̀ tẹ̀bùn kàǹkà àríyá àti ìgbádùn fún ọjọ́ mẹ́tàlélógún gbáko tó ń tẹ̀bùn tí ò níye bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ kejì di ọjọ́ kẹrìnlélógún oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2023 gbogbo ayé ní bond mall olùsànyà bus stop ring road ìbàdàn ẹgbẹ̀rún méjì péré lọ́mọ kan aago mẹ́wàá àárọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ ni fada kérésì ó ti wà ń kalẹ̀ láti ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ àbí fún àlàyé síwájú ẹ pè oyin sórí 0813 125 1915 tàbí sùnbọ̀ sórí 0908 473 8279 ẹ wá gbọ́ o yàtọ̀ sí àpò ẹ̀bùn tí baba kérésì 32 fm yóò fún ọmọ kọ̀ọ̀kan àǹfààní ẹ̀bùn tún lọ sálálú lásìkò yìí kó tó oríire lórí rédíò láago 4 kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 10 sí 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ lójoojúmọ́ gbogbo ọmọ tó bá ti pè wọlé ó máa gbẹ̀bùn kààyà bíi púlọ̀tì ilẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ ìléwọ́ táàbù ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àpò ìrẹsì àwọn ohun èlò ilé electronics àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ àwọn onígbọ̀wọ́ baba kérésì 32 fm ọdún yìí ni hallelujah oil right foods delight chinchin danabit homes and properties rc cola tiwa the wise monkey letiji properties boom drinks aisho gadgets la casera crunchy cheese ball àti fanmi. nínú ọdún tí bẹ́ẹ̀ láyé ti kérésì lọ́yà.
láti se oúnjẹ tó dáa máa ń múnú mi dùn ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé nígbàkúùgbà tí n bá ń se oúnjẹ mo máa ń fi kóró náà dára sí i fún ẹ̀fọ́ sí ugu o tàtàṣé o ṣọ̀mbọ̀ o àlùbọ́sà kò sí ohun tí mo kì í fi sí tán ìdí táwọn ọmọ mi ṣe ń gbádùn oúnjẹ mi nìyẹn.
Mami, mi ò yọ mo fẹ́.
ṣe rí ṣètò gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀ wá fi kóró náà dára sí i fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn lónìí.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong, and you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with INT'L Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices like the 7500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest INT'L shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
INT'L, a reason to imagine.
Mọ́mì wa, kí ló ń jẹ́ kí tí oní ṣokoléètì tẹ́ ẹ kò rí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀? Ṣé yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara mílìkì ni tàbí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara wàrà? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé ìdá 20 tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mílìkì ló ń bẹ nínú Milo Active Go? Milo, ó kún láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Milo! You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back to Papers Review on 32 FM 94.9. And yes, in the studio this morning, we have Professor Oluwajedokun with us this morning, who is going to be shedding more light as regards some of the headlines we are trailing for you today.
All right, we have Professor Oluwajedokun joining us. And of course, my name is GBOLABO, Famous School.
And of course, it's top of the day.
Okay, so let's dive right into it. Prof, from the Punch newspaper, we have this headline that says NNPCL ends fuel import December 2024, projects 4.5 trillion naira revenue. Now, what are your thoughts as regards this? Considering the fact, what Nigerians have been facing as regards, fuel in the country for a couple of months right now.
Well, the thing is to remember is that the trillions that are coming in is going to come from your pocket and my pocket. So I think the immediate impact is that we continue to feel the kind of, you understand, the kind of tightness, the kind of famine, some might call it that. But the government has more money. And it depends on the responsibility of the government. It depends on the conscience of the government to a very great extent as to what they do with that more money. Do they do more of long-term palliatives such as salary increases, such as transport allowance with the money? Or do they go into more capital infrastructure, pay more debt off, or indeed, you understand, buy more SUVs for the members of the House of Reps and the Senate. So it really depends what the government's going to do with the money. So the money is coming in, there's no doubt about that. But what do they do with the money as far as the common man is concerned, and the common woman, if I might, add to that. So I think that's the conundrum that we have as people.
But then if you read further on that story from the Punch this morning, Kiari stated, and I quote, "I can confirm to you that by the end of December this year, we would start the Port Harcourt refinery." Now, Nigerians want to know how true this statement is. This is not the first time that we are going to hear that, refineries are going to be up and running. And, at the end of the day, we just find out that statement has fizzled out one way or the other. So now he is saying that he can confirm that by the end of December this year, that Port Harcourt refinery will be up and running.
And we pray that's the case, because we've had so many promises, failed promises in that respect. If it's up and running, I think the next question then is that what impact does it have to Nigerians? Some argue that if the Port Harcourt is up and running and we are refining our products, it means we are not paying foreign exchange, we are not taking it abroad, and it means that the landing costs will be reduced. But some experts have argued that the landing costs are negligible, that yes, it might be reflected a bit, but it's not going to change or move the needle from that point of view. But I think it must be to our pride, it must be to our joy, that at least it means we won't be paying salaries to people in Port Harcourt for doing nothing. It also means that some of our fuel will be refined locally, and we might be able to get fuel coming from abroad, foreign exchange, for them to come and refine in the Port Harcourt refinery. So there's pluses if it starts working. But the question is that, will it start working? And when it starts working, and that's why they need the security, because it's in the interest of some people that our refineries, local refineries, don't work. And that's why some people have suggested that many times, many of these refineries, apart from lack of maintenance, have also suffered from sabotage.
All right, Prof, let's look at this particular statement coming from Soludo. And of course, we do know that Soludo has a background when it comes to economy and, of course, instances of financial growth. Now, Charles Soludo is saying that the government inherited a bad economy. That's the Tinubu government, a dead economy, using his word. And he stated this, that the administration of President Bola Tinubu took over a dead economy bequeathed by his predecessor. Soludo made the remark during an interview with one of the national TV stations in Nigeria. Now, for someone who has been at the Apex Bank before, and of course, who knows the nitty-gritty of how to grow an economy, is that not a lame excuse? Because we do know that it's the APC government that is handing over to another APC government. Now, he's saying from his predecessor, these are not strange political parties and they are not strange men to one another. What is Soludo trying to make out of all of this?
Well, I think he's straying into the national arena, but at the same time, he's using it to anchor and to justify his position as to the lack of revenues and as to the slowness of the economy from that point of view. But I think the narrative is very clear. It's a one narrative. Yes, it's APC to APC. But I think in reality, if you look at it in close analysis, you discover that within that political party, there are different tendencies. There are those of them that are economically literate, and there are those of them whose interest has just been to plunder the economy. And yet in the APC, there are those of them who claim to be progressives, who are economically literate and want to move the country forward. So these two contradictory tendencies, those that want to plunder, those that want to entrench class interest, and those that really want progressiveness, that they want the economy to move to the first class level, they're there. And so it seems to me now that the progressive tendency in quotation marks, and people are going to come out at me for this morning, are taking over. But they've taken over something which may not be sustainable in the long term, so they have to find ways. So it's a very confusing picture because they belong to the same group, but they have different tendencies, and I think that is it. Soludo is trying to dissect that, but you say, is Soludo the right person? Is he involved in their political party? But he's trying to dissect it from the outside.
All right, so moving to the Vanguard newspaper, we have a headline here that says, Northern elders express concern over conduct of judiciary. The Northern elders have come out in a statement yesterday by its convener, Professor Ango Abdullahi, stressed the need for the judiciary to be cautious in its actions to prevent the erosion of its integrity, public trust, and confidence.
Well, when they say the erosion of trust, public confidence in the judiciary, I ask the question. I've looked at the analysis. They got rid of 4 governors. And those 4 governors that they got rid of, they don't all belong to the same political party. I think there's an APC there, I think there's PDP, and I think there's NNP. Is it NNP? So you begin to ask, yes, we have some questions, always have some questions to the judiciary, but I'm not sure that there's one tendency in which they're heading towards. It's obviously clear that there's some confusion in some of the decisions. Sometimes they support, one position, and the other times another position. So it depends, really. Do we have confidence in them? I hope we do, so that the common man is able to get some justice. And I think going beyond politics, the problem some people have with the judiciary is that sometimes they spend so long on litigation, and that you begin to wonder, was it worth it in the while? In the Supreme Court, you have cases of 10 years, even 15 years, if I dare say, And so you begin to ask the question. Some people have died before their cases are resolved. So that's where the lack of confidence comes from, rather than more the political arena.
Now, federal government states plan 18 million agri jobs, $1.5 billion funds. And I'm wondering, in an economy that is that bad, and of course we're having this kind of plans coming from the National Economic Council, I wonder where the funds are going to come from and who are going to benefit from all of these processes. At least $1.52 billion donor funds into 36 special agro-industrial processing zones across the nation. Now, agri obviously doesn't just end with farming, and of course the farming environment or the farming land. You also have other vices when it comes to instances of agriculture. But then, is the environment suitable enough for us to do agri-business? And of course, where this money is going into when we talk about the rate of insecurity, especially within the agri sector itself?
I hope it is. You see, the problem is that if we don't do nothing, we are damned. And if we do something, some will say we're also damned. But we have to do something. We have to move the needle one way or the other. I imagine that this investment will bring more investment. When you invest and you invest productively, you are able to expand and open up the economy and bring more money in. So I think that's what they're banking on from that point of view. But as you said, they must also bank on the fact that there's insecurity, and they must take care of insecurity, because if they don't, then all this money will go down the swanny. And what do I mean by that? It means the money will be wasted from that point of view. So it's good that they're thinking about this, because people need jobs, and the jobs in the white collar are limited. But of course, if you go to the farms, if you go to agri business is not just about tilling the land. You understand? It's poultry, it's fishery. You understand? It's tannery. You understand? It's pyramids and so on, so that we used to have in those days. So there are a lot of things associated with it. There are byproducts and byprocesses.
But Prof, have we asked ourselves, since we have been getting all of this money, it's been voted for agricultural development in Nigeria, what has been the level of achievement? Now, is it not an excuse by the government to go borrowing, because now there is a project in the pipeline, and of course they have every right to say that they are going out there to obtain monies from the international fund. Now, if you look at all of these instances, is this not an easy excuse for the federal government to go out there to say they are also getting monies to fund all of these projects?
No, in the past, let's be very clear, that some of the monies that have been borrowed have gone amiss. They have not used it specifically for what they should use it. So borrowing in itself, we said before, is not a bad thing. It's what you do with the borrowing. Do you deal with consumption or investment? There's a city, a mega city. I'm not going to go into details this morning. And that mega city, there are two lines that should have been, that they borrowed for. One was going from one end of the town. The other was going to go into the more commercial end, further, towards another end of the town. As we speak today, you understand, one end has been completed, the other end nobody knows about it, and they borrowed for it. Nothing has happened with that. So it depends on what they do with the money, whether they borrow to consume or borrow to embezzle. And if they borrow this money now, and the National Assembly, that's why we need the National Assembly to be on their game. If the National Assembly is on
Do
top
we have
of
a National Assembly?
Well, we have a National Assembly name. We have some people that were put there, or voted in rather, you understand. If they're on their game, then they should be able to scrutinize step by step, stage by stage. And when people go amiss with the funds or do shenanigans or so on, then why should they pitch? Why it's nobody's personal property, the money, and the position is nobody's personal property. The position belongs to the Nigerian people. And political party affiliation should not stop you from asking the crucial questions, or if people need to be impeached because they've gone amiss with the money, then so should it be. I expect in Lagos State, I expect in that state, the Labour Party state, and all states where you have been able to identify money that has been misspent or misallocated, I expect them to invite those governors to come and answer the questions, and if those questions are not satisfactory, to commence impeachment proceedings.
All right, before we open the phone lines this morning, we have this from the Punch newspaper. FG to fish out prison warders aiding terrorists. Now, this actually caught my attention when I saw it. Now, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, has directed the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service to investigate allegations that some personnel aid terrorists. Your 2 cents on this.
Well, that came from the Chief of Defense Staff, I think, when he was giving a presentation or defense to the activities of the military forces here. Well, what's my 2 cents on this, from that point of view? I don't think they are the only ones, if it's true. I think security forces generally, you understand, have questions to answer. By all means, investigate them. But I ask the question, these warders you're talking about, is it worth their while? Are they paid correctly, appropriately? And if they are not, I also think their terms and conditions of services need to be lifted. If you go to prisons, I pray you don't go, even on a visit. If you go to visit, you see the conditions there. You understand? People do all kinds of things in order to survive there and in order to even get out of the place. And remember that these terrorists, many of them have not been charged. So I think also the criminal justice system needs to be faster, quicker, so that these terrorists are charged and are punished appropriately.
All right, bro, before we go on that break, we almost have time check. Let's look at this one. State FCT owe federal government 1.72 trillion naira budget support cash. Now, it appears that the center is too powerful. And of course, the center appears to be getting money from all angles, from education, before the policy somersault of 40% slash that the government wanted to do. And now the government is looking at these instances of saying some states, and of course the Federal Capital Territory, is owing it as much as 1.72 trillion naira. How did we get to this point?
Well, remember that when this government came in, there were times when states could not pay salaries. Not this government, the previous government. And of course, states couldn't pay salaries. And the federal government under Buhari had to intervene over a period of time. Also, remember that as part of this so-called palliatives, 5 billion was spread out and given to states. It wasn't just 5 billion, there was another tranche. In fact, 2 tranches. One went to the local government and 2 went to the states. So some of this money, people think are giveaways. They've never been giveaways. They're put there, you understand, so that at some point in time when states are buoyant, they could pay back. So that's where we are. We are there because we removed subsidy. We are there because we had political and economic problems even from the time of Jonathan. And we've not been able to grow our economy. The last time this economy grew double digits, you understand, was under the time shortly Yaradua. Since then, we've been single digit and even below single digit. And during the time of Buhari, we had 2 recessions. And so when you have a recession, it means your economy contracts, you know. So that's part of the reason why we're in this problem. When it contracts, people are out of jobs. And when people are out of jobs, of course, all the attendant factors.
All right, we also have time check this time. But before we go on this one, Sumbo, do you have any other one that you want to look into this morning?
Okay. Well, I think I've exhausted all my stories.
All right. Our plan to... Okay, this one says reposition education sector by Tinubu. It appears that education appears to be one of the critical sector of the economy. And of course, we do know that past administration, the likes of late Adua, made education priority here. And now, it has also been like a cheap talk, looking at governance structure in Nigeria. Before we go on that break, but what sense do we make out of how much more the policies of government has helped out in terms of education here? Talking about fee. Fee is a major issue here in most of our tertiary institutions and even the schools, the smaller schools in Nigeria.
No, there's nothing to write home about because people always pretend that most people go to federal schools and state schools. Most people don't go to federal schools and state schools. They go to private schools. And I don't see the support these people get because they pay taxes after all. So that support must be spread out, not just to those who go to federal, but also those who go to private. And I'm sure we'll explore this further.
All right, we'll go on this break and we'll be back very shortly. Please do stay with us.
32 FM 94.9.
Being a new artist in the game, mastering your riffs, finding your sound, and pushing your career at the same time ain't easy. Introducing Pepsi Music Academy in partnership with Empire, a music development program created to discover, train, and showcase the next generation of confirmed Nigeria music stars. Scan the QR code on any of our cool interactive Pepsi bottles or visit www.pepsimusicacademy.ng to register for free and stand a chance to kickstart your music career with a 2-year record deal with Empire. Follow Pepsi_Nigeria on all social media platforms for more. Pepsi Music Academy. Stardom begins here. Pepsi, thirsty for more.
Kí ló ń sún ọpọ́n ìrẹsì jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù lọ sípele ìgbádùn tó ga? ṣé tí wọ́n bá sè é pẹ̀lú kóró náà fún adùn tó kà màmá yẹn ni tàbí tẹ́ ẹ bá jẹ́ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó sàláàdì Nàìjíríà èso kábéèjì kárọ̀tì lẹ́tùsì àtẹ̀wà oníkíndìnrín díẹ̀.
ó ní láti jẹ́ méjèèjì ṣe jollof rice rẹ pẹ̀lú adùn kóró náà kí o wá jẹ́ pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀fọ́ ó yá jẹ́ kí ọ̀pọ̀ oúnjẹ rẹ gbé pẹ́ẹ́lí lónìí jẹun tó dáa.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong, and you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with INT'L Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices like the 7500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest INT'L shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
INT'L, a reason to imagine.
Mọ́mì wa, kí ló ń jẹ́ kí tí oníṣokoléètì tẹ́ ẹ kò rí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀? Ṣé yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara mílìkì ni tàbí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara wàrà? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé ìdá 20 tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mílìkì ló ń bẹ nínú Milo Active Go? Milo, ó kún láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Milo! Hey driver, make up to 300,000 naira every week. Download InDrive to give rides to people in Lagos and start making money. Average driver's weekly revenue based on making 15 trips daily after subtracting license fee, according to InDrive statistics in 2023.
bó ṣe ń wò mí yìí mo jẹ́ kan nínú àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ jẹun dáadáa ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé tí mo bá fẹ́ jẹun ọ̀pọ̀ nǹkan tó dáa ni mo máa ń fi sínú ẹ̀ fún àsáró mi lẹ́yìn tí mo bá fẹja sí i màá fàlùbọ́sà tàtàṣé àti úgú ṣẹ̀jọ́ ẹ̀ màá wá fi kóró náà tá a jẹ́ kó sọkútù wọ̀wọ̀ sí i fádùn tó gbámúṣé ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ìgbé ayé tó dáa ni téèyàn bá jẹun tó dáa.
ṣẹjọ gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀ wá fi kóró náà dára sí i fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn lónìí jẹun tó dáa.
E get something you go notice with people wey don make am. Dem dey always dey strong and active. Dem no get dull moment because say dem go first knack correct wakis for morning. Dem come take Didion syrup of hemoglobin support body. Didion syrup of hemoglobin vitamin B12 na the ogbonge blood tonic to help your body system so you go fit perform wella for work and even for play. 2 full spoon of Didion's wey you take straight like that or mix with the beverage you dey take go office or gym go keep you kampe the whole day and you go just dey bounce like football. Hey! Didion syrup of hemoglobin. Carry go! Nothing do you. Didion syrup of hemoglobin. Na the power to unleash. Abeg, make una read the tori paper.
Hi there, my name is Mercy Johnson Okoje.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aproko Doctor.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruz with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil is Power Oil.
Is Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still on to Break It On Papers Review here. And of course, it's right about time to open the phone lines and also take your comments on our socials. Do remember, it's 32FM 949 Ibadan on Facebook and also on YouTube. The numbers to call into the studio this morning is 070-55000-949 or 080-97000-949. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Prof,
Good morning.
Good morning. First, Prof, this is okay. I actually want to say, Prof, the legislators and so-called, I don't actually think people voted there because when you are voted in, you are accountable to those people. They are actually accountable to the godfathers and the kingmakers that brought them in. That is actually, so I think we should devise a means whereby when we totally agree that we brought them in, then we'll be able to also ask them to account for such things. Then on the judiciary, I think Justice Okachua's husband actually told us what was happening all those while. I think they are now bringing themselves to question. Do I really believe in them now? Will they really be the hope of the masses? Like I've been clamoring for some few days, the media now is actually the hope of the masses. Good morning. This is okay.
Good morning. Thank you very much. 070550949 0809 7949.
All right. We also have commentaries on Facebook too. You can also drop yours 32FM 949 Ibadan on Facebook and of course on YouTube. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I'm John. Thank you, Professor.
Good morning.
Speaking for myself this morning, for the first time, let Nigeria hear me. I'm speaking for myself, Professor Abdullah is correct. In what appears to be judicial manipulation, some judges seek for evidence to justify their position. And thank God the professor is a lawyer. When you are pushing constitution in court, the judge will be taking electoral act to counter you. When you are referring to the electoral act, the judge will be using the evidence act to counter you. When you are quoting the evidence act, the judge will be quoting their rules and the order. But you see, the situation in Kano, cause for security concerns. I learned that the Yoruba community fears attack in Kano. Let the people of Kano understand that the political problem is between Ganduje, APC chairman, and the Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, and not the Yoruba ethnic group, any other ethnic group, or the president as some people might believe. It is not the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the Yoruba man, is not concerned in the situation. And they cannot use the judiciary to manipulate anything there. Let them understand that the problem is between their sons, Kwankwaso and Ganduje. And I want to say that it is not good for any person to take the laws into their hands. This matter has already been put before the Supreme Court. Let's wait for the Supreme Court and let us not take the law into our hands or put the Yoruba community in many tensions. I am John Nusa once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. 070550949, 0097949. You can also drop your comments on Facebook at 32FM 949 Ibadan.
All right, we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Prof, I don't know whether you listen to Appeal Court judgment of Ikeme State Constituency, in which the PDP candidate resigned 18 days to election. And he resigned from PDP and said he's not going to participate in that election. And he went to court to swear that he voluntarily resigned. Eventually he won. And let's give him return. What Appeal Court yesterday said, he is no member of political party, that he cannot be elected. Yes. Now I want you to just collaborate with what Appeal Court said in job, that the governor of Kano State is not a member of NNPP and he cannot be fight for it because Constitution says political party must sponsor any candidacy for any election. Please, I want you to explain. Have a nice time.
Thank you very much.
No, I think the constitutional position is clear. You must be sponsored by the political party. And if it's been established that it wasn't sponsored. But let me tell you the problem that I'm having. Why should the people of Kano suffer? If they made a choice, why should they suffer as a result? Shouldn't the Court of Appeal be more imaginative and say, okay, maybe the next person, in terms of maybe the deputy governor takes over or something like that. That's where I come from, from that point of view. And the problem is that they've not been consistent. Sometimes they gloss over it and says it's a intra-party matter.
All right. Hello, good morning. All right, Prof, let's look at this. PDP governors canvass new revenue formula react to court judgmental elections. Now, the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum have called on the federal government to introduce a new revenue allocation formula that will give more money to states and local government. Are these governors asking for too much? Are they lame? For instance, why do they have to depend on FAC for some of the revenue allocations itself? Are they becoming too lazy to think inward and, of course, ensure that they generate their own IGR here?
I think any structural reforms has to be wholesale. I think, yes, IGL needs to be looked at. They need to do things to raise money locally. But I also think that a lot of this money you're talking about comes from the states anyway. You understand? The money that is being spent at the center. The center is too large. The center is too powerful. The center has too much money in their hands. And most of the back-to-back governance in this country is actually at the state level. So it is right that you should clamor. But some people would argue that the more that goes into the hands of the state governor, that the more that corruption, you understand, is franchised.
All right. The numbers again are 070-550-949 or 080-979-949. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my sister and my brother.
Good morning.
John Olariwaju calling from Maduwo. Something urgent is not done to the judiciary, and the judiciary is continuing like this.
I pray that something that we did not expect will not happen. Because judiciary to me, it can make the country better. It can also make the country better in another way again. Just imagine Kano. In the House of Assembly of the Kano State, they have 40 honorables there. Out of 40 honorables, I think the NFPP able to have 26 legislators there. Talking about of Red in Kano State, I think they have something like maybe 20 or something like that. And the NFPP able to have like maybe 17 or 18. Even senators there, 3 senators, they have 2 senators. What are we talking? When people voted for them, they voted for them. I think sometimes the judiciary is supposed to even go and check how the things go, how the people voted for them. They need to just use their initiative to understand that if you cause this thing in this area, there will be a problem. They just forget about collecting bribe or whatever. They want the judgment or upside down. So it's not about, to me, as what it is, to me, if there is nothing that fishing there, I don't think that they will be able to remove all these PDP. I'm not a PDP.
All right, we'll go to Facebook and also take some comment. Tulok Payadiyemi says, good morning, Aduke and others people in the studio. I hope the statement coming out from the NNTCL that Nigeria will stop fuel importation by December is true, because it's not the first time the people in government will be talking the talks without any meaningful actions to walk their talks. All right, we'll take this one from Okedion Babatunde. Said, December is here. Refineries will start working. It's a good development. As for Nigerians, until it is functional, then we believe hopefully the price of fuel will come down. All right, let's also take other ones, okay? Let's take this one. Hello, good morning. All right, we have to go this morning. Our time is fast spent. I don't know if you have any last word, Prof, before we leave the studios.
No, just hoping that as we move into December, we are actually moving to December. I hope that the federal government and the state governments, we just have a little bit of mercy upon us. We shouldn't really be asking for it, but what do we do so that life can be a little bit better for the commoners?
All right, that's the much we can take on the Break It On Papers review this morning. My name is GBOLABO, the Moscow, and the Smart Kids Show is up next.
And I am Ola SUMBO Yusuf. Thank you for joining us.